Welcome. Many of you were here with us yesterday, and I am certainly glad you're back here with us today. And to those of you who have just arrived through torrential rain last night, welcome to you as well. We're so pleased that so many of you have joined us for this very important weekend here on our campus. You have a busy day ahead. I hope you'll attend some of the sessions on Gettysburg's distinctive programs that really do set us apart from other liberal arts colleges. The Center for Public Service, our Civil War programs, the Eisenhower Institute, the Sunderman Conservatory of Music, the Garthwaite Leadership Center, and our Global Studies programs. You also have an opportunity to learn more about our academic program and curriculum and the research and creative activities that our students do with our faculty. Later in the day, there are additional information sessions, athletic events, even a Civil War walking tour of our campus. And of course, we'll end the day together at our gala as we look into Gettysburg's future and celebrate our wonderful college with good food, lively conversation, and some dancing. Yes, dancing. This morning, I'd like to talk with you about two Gettysburgs. One is my Gettysburg and yours, the college we love that has played such a significant role in each of our lives, our Gettysburg. The other Gettysburg is the world's Gettysburg, the Gettysburg that for generations has done an astonishing job of sending ambitious, well-educated, active young people out there to tackle a range of society's challenges and opportunities. So let's start with the personal, with our Gettysburg. We each have a Gettysburg story. They're all different. But I'm willing to bet there are some similar themes through our stories. My Gettysburg story began when I was 17 years old. Very young. Whew, how about that? I knew I wanted to go to college. I came from a large high school outside of Philadelphia. My oldest brother had gone to Penn State, but my thinking was, I don't really want to go to a big place. I wanted a small college experience. I was a pretty good student, near the top of my class. I had good board scores, and I was involved in a lot of high school activities. So when I talked with my guidance counselor, she recommended that I take a look at some strong liberal arts colleges in Pennsylvania. I did some touring around, and on one trip, I visited 2 orange and blue schools, and I was completely impressed with Gettysburg. And I think it was a day kind of like yesterday. It was pouring, teeming rain during my tour, but despite that, everything felt right. I liked everyone I talked to. The people were friendly, even in the pouring rain. And the quality of the college was affirmed by a friend of the family who graduated from Gettysburg. Both my head and my heart told me that this would be a great place to go. So I applied early decision, and that was that. I arrived thinking I wanted to be a math major because it was something I could do fairly well, and frankly, it seemed practical. However, to fulfill a distribution requirement, I ended up in an introductory psychology class that, frankly, I was really irritated about having to take. Thane Pittman was my professor. He looks a little different today. It was in that class that I found my academic passion and my mentor. I had excellent faculty in both the math and psychology departments who really cared about me as a student and as a person, so I decided to complete both majors. But I was really hooked by psychology, and I started to work very closely with Thane. He had a very active research program, and he hired me as a research assistant. There's no doubt that I learned as much through that experience as I did in any class. And then, at the end of my junior year, he said, "Janet, you should go to graduate school." Well, I had never thought about that. So I said, "Really? How do I do that?" Well, he told me I should do independent research during my senior year to get that experience, and that he would help me think about where to apply. So I thought about that all summer, and I returned in the fall, And I found him at the psychology department registration table right here in this room, and I said, okay, I'll do it. So he supervised my independent research, and he gave me a list of 6 or 8 graduate programs to apply to. He talked to me about the applications, and he encouraged me to apply for some fellowships. And the next spring, I was admitted to Princeton's doctoral program in social psychology, an excellent program with a fellowship. Amazing, amazing, really. So off I went. And by the way, I have to tell you, I went with an inferiority complex, imagining what my fellow students were going to be like. Not long after I got there, I realized I was far better prepared than most of the people in my entering class. I'd had the research experience. I'd done a lot of statistics and experimental design. I'd already written research reports, APA style. Some psychology majors, I heard that. A lot of the other students had not had the same depth of experience, since they had come from larger programs that just didn't have the capacity to provide those kinds of experiences for their undergraduate students. So thanks to my Gettysburg education, I was a step ahead. I'm telling you all this not because my own story is really all that interesting, but because I'm betting that at least some of this feels familiar to you. Some of you, no doubt, remember visiting Gettysburg in the pouring rain as a prospective student or as the parent of a prospective student, and knowing that Gettysburg just felt right. Or you might remember stumbling onto an academic major by taking a distribution requirement, or finding a faculty member who encouraged and mentored you. Or you might remember graduating from Gettysburg wondering if you were prepared for what came next, and finding that you were exceptionally well prepared. These are our Gettysburg stories. My Gettysburg story continued when I was finishing graduate school. I was on the job, oh boy. I was on the job market, and I noticed that Gettysburg had a 1-year faculty position available in the psychology department. I applied for that position, and that was in 1981. You know the punchline. I'm still here, 30 years later. Who'd have thought? I've had an incredible set of experiences as a member of an extraordinarily talented faculty, and then as provost, and now as president, which, as you might imagine, is an amazing job. It's very dynamic. The challenges are so intense, but so are the joys. No day is like the one before, and the range of issues I get to think about and the variety of people I get to interact with are truly inspiring. I can see the institution from an alumni perspective and from a faculty perspective. And from just having had 3 kids of my own in college, I can see it from the parent perspective as well. There is no question that it is a tremendous honor for me to be leading a truly great college, and one that I love so much. So why is it that I'm so devoted to this place? Why do I care so much about Gettysburg's success? Besides the fact that I think I do literally have orange and blue running through my veins, it's because I really do believe we're doing something very important here. And I think you're here today because you believe the same thing. There's an old Margaret Mead quote that I refer to frequently. She said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." I never get tired of this quote because I believe it. Gettysburg alumni can change the world. In fact, they are changing the world. They're making a difference. Take Michael Bishop, class of 1957. Michael was the recipient of the 1989 Nobel Prize in Medicine for advancements in the understanding of the origins of cancer. William Matz, class of 1961, retired Major General for the U.S. Army. Bill's career was exemplary, and among his many decorations and awards are the Distinguished Service Cross, a Silver Star, and a Purple Heart. Fred Fielding, class of 1961, former White House counsel for 2 administrations and member of the 9/11 Commission. Richard Restak, class of 1962, well-known neurologist and author of 18 books on the human brain. Carol Bellamy, class of 1963, former director of the Peace Corps and UNICEF, and former president and CEO of World Learning, a global nonprofit organization that operates in more than 70 countries to foster global citizenship through experiential education and development. Bruce Gordon, class of 1968, who retired as president of the Retail Merchants Group for Verizon's Communications, and then served as president of the NAACP. Mary Karskadden, class of 1969, world-renowned sleep researcher at Brown University. David Brennan, class of 1975, CEO of international pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca. Catherine Walford, class of 1979, former president of Lutheran World Relief and currently president of the McKnight Foundation. Marla Graf Decker, class of 1980, Secretary of Public Safety for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Michael Shigaris, class of 1984, federal judge on the United States Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit, nominated by President George W. Bush in 2006. Ray Hopkins, class of 1987, Chief Operating Officer for the YES Network, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network. Carson Kressley, class of 1991, a breakout star on popular TV, an accomplished equestrian who won a world title in 2009 and the founder of an organization to help gay adolescents. Greg Hoy, class of 1992, whose design firm Happy Cog was named Design Agency of the Year in 2010. Will Kinsel, class of 1996, policy advisor and counsel to the United States Speaker of the House John Boehner. Luke Norris, class of 2006, Rhodes Scholar and Yale Law School graduate. Luisa Polos, class of 2008, who founded Campus Kitchens here in Gettysburg, which in just a few short years has reclaimed more than 37,000 pounds of food which would have been discarded and turned it into more than 21,000 meals to close the food gap in Adams County. And how about this series of 3 alumni? David Wills, class of 1851, who took the personal initiative to invite the 16th President of the United States here in 1863 to say a few appropriate remarks at the dedication of the National Cemetery for those who'd fallen during the Battle of Gettysburg, and with whom President Lincoln stayed the night before delivering the Gettysburg Address. Peter Holleran, class of 1975, president of Cognitive Marketing in Rochester, New York, who suggested to the college that we recreate that 1863 experience when students and faculty joined President Lincoln and other community members to process to the National Cemetery for its dedication. And Lindsay Morlock, class of 2004, who implemented Peter's idea by developing the first-year walk, an event that has become a wonderful tradition here. Lindsay will be forever linked with these members of the classes of 1851 and 1975, and she has left an incredible legacy to our community. These alumni and so many others exemplify the world's Gettysburg, Gettysburgians who have made a difference, who have changed and are changing the world. Let me lay out in detail the story of one alumnus whose ripple effect has had astonishing impact. Stephen Warner graduated from Gettysburg, magna cum laude, in 1968. During his undergraduate days at Gettysburg and as a reporter for the Gettysburgian, Stephen Warner was an outspoken critic of the Vietnam War. Almost immediately following his graduation, he was reclassified 1A and eligible for induction into the armed forces. Hoping to get a semester under his belt at Yale Law School, he was able to complete 1 full year at Yale before being drafted. He became a reporter, and a photojournalist for the U.S. Army. Stephen could easily have stayed in Saigon, receiving reports like many journalists did, and filing his stories from his hotel room. Instead, his love of telling stories and his desire to write and photograph the human interest angle of the war put Stephen directly in harm's way. He was killed in action in 1971. Stephen bequeathed his GI insurance to Gettysburg College. And that gift eventually became the seed money for our Center for Public Service, a center that has gained national recognition for its approach to service learning. The center not only provides a strong opportunity for volunteer action on campus, in the local community, and at locations across the nation and across the world, but it also promotes in our students a focus on social justice issues. One well-known initiative of the center is Project Gettysburg Leon. This is a partnership between the Borough of Gettysburg and Gettysburg College that promotes sustainable development projects in Leon, Nicaragua, and sustainable relationships and cultural exchange between our communities. It's through the CPS that our campus kitchen operates, that program begun by Luisa Polos. The CPS also sponsors immersion projects during which students travel to a variety of sites: Washington, D.C., New York City, New Orleans, Alabama, Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, the San Carlos Apache Reservation. These projects provide students with the opportunity to serve a community different from their own and to learn about the issues of social justice affecting that community. Now that's impact. All of that is a ripple effect created by Stephen Warner with his gift and built upon by former college chaplain Carl Mattson and many others who had a vision for a Center for Public Service here at Gettysburg College. So I'm often asked, and properly so, what's my vision for Gettysburg? What's my vision for our future? What should the goal be? And I have to tell you, my vision is locked in, and it's been locked in since the day I became president. My vision doesn't require a 180-degree turn. How can you argue with the success we've had, with what our alumni have contributed to their professions, to their communities, to the world? Instead, the vision I have, and one that is shared by so many Gettysburgians, involves building on our strengths and enhancing our commitment to our Gettysburg and the world's Gettysburg. My vision for Gettysburg College is that we prepare our students to take effective action in their professions and in their communities, action that will have positive impact, action that will make the world a better place. I want to challenge our students to think differently and creatively, to take initiative, to act with integrity. I want to help them develop the capacity to solve the big problems, to resolve the conflicts, to improve this world. And I want them to feel the responsibility to do so, to put this fabulous education they're getting to good use. Our mission statement calls us to prepare active participants and leaders for a rapidly changing world. I know that sounds lofty, but this is the business we're in. So how do we go about preparing students in this way? First, we offer a tremendous academic experience. We appeal to students who are doers, really bright young people who are very active and want to get things done. And we put them in close contact with a truly indispensable element, a great and dedicated faculty. Students learn to think critically. They learn to communicate effectively. They learn to address complex problems and issues from multiple disciplinary approaches. They learn to understand and appreciate diverse cultural perspectives. What better academic preparation could there be for careers that will be fast-changing and in a world that is globally interconnected? But for our students, for Gettysburg students, it's about more than thinking about difficult problems. It's about solving them. It's about taking action. It's about feeling the responsibility and desire to put that education to good use and then knowing how to do so. Some of our co-curricular programs are specifically aimed at helping students translate their educational experience into action. As I just noticed, our Center for Public Service engages students in thinking critically and acting compassionately. It's not just about offering help to those in need, although that's a wonderful thing to do, but it's also about understanding the underlying social justice issues. It's about wrestling with complex societal problems and generating potential solutions. That's the legacy of Stephen Warner's gift. Alumnus Bob Garthwaite, class of 1982, is also leaving a legacy. Thanks to his generosity, the Garthwaite Leadership Center provides programs for students that are designed to help them advance their capacity for leadership, with the understanding that leadership is not necessarily positional. Rather, leadership is about affecting positive change for the betterment of others, the community, and society. The Eisenhower Institute provides programs that engage our students in discussion and research about significant public policy issues to assure they are ready for the responsibilities of informed citizenship. So paired with an extraordinary academic experience, these and other Gettysburg College programs are helping to prepare the world's Gettysburg. We also know that in today's world, that preparation must be global. The majority of our students spend at least one semester abroad, immersed in a different culture, and they're finding this to be a vital part of their liberal arts education. And they don't just go to Europe. They're going to South Africa and Botswana and China. One of our recent graduates, David Yeager Aluriaga, class of 2010, received a grant the summer after his first year to study modern Buddhism in China. In his sophomore year, he went with his physics research group to Russia to present their research at an international science conference. David went on to major in mathematics and physics and Spanish, and is now working on his PhD in nuclear engineering at the University of Michigan. Or take the case of another recent graduate, Natasha Generis, class of 2009, an environmental studies and biology double major who worked very closely doing research with Professor John Comito. Natasha won a Goldwater Scholarship, and she's now in graduate school studying with one of the top environmental scientists in the nation. Today, Tasha is in East Africa studying the impact of climate change on biodiversity of Lake Turkana. By the way, Tasha would be the first to say that the financial aid she received from Gettysburg is what has made this all possible. Or Jackie Powell, who graduated in 2009 with majors in globalization studies, Latin American studies, and environmental studies. The summer after her graduation, she and fellow alumna Sneha Shrestha were awarded a Davis Projects for Peace grant to help establish a school library in Kathmandu, Nepal, and to work with the children in that community. Jackie's since gone on to work in Guatemala with a variety of organizations in an effort to bring clean water to rural communities. Her goal is to return to school to study water engineering so that she can bring that expertise to those parts of the world where it's most needed. Or John Condra, who just graduated in the spring with majors in political science and international affairs and a minor in East Asian studies. John studied Chinese language here at Gettysburg, and he went on to study for a summer and a semester in Beijing. As a senior, he won the U.S. Department of State's Critical Language Scholarship for the study of Mandarin Chinese, which allowed him to return to Beijing this past summer following his graduation. Currently, he's working towards a master's degree at Georgetown, focusing on national security issues related to East Asia. He expects to work in the field of international business or diplomacy. Later this morning, if you choose to go to the Global Education session, you'll hear from Andrea Carson, a globalization studies major who just spent a semester in China with a focus on environmental issues. You'll get to talk with Lionel Hong, an economics major who spent last semester in Denmark and who landed an internship at a Danish firm that allowed him to extend his stay through the summer. And you'll hear from Christina Natalello, class of 2006, an anthropology and women's studies double major who studied abroad in South Africa, went into the Teach for America program after her graduation, and has continued to teach in the public school system in the Bronx ever since. My point is that we understand the importance of providing our students with an educational experience that prepares them for a globally interconnected world. Proof of our success is that in recent years, Gettysburg has been recognized nationally as a top producer of Fulbright scholars and Peace Corps volunteers. That is something we should all be very proud of. Not only do we have an obligation to make good on our mission, to prepare individuals to tackle the difficult challenges we face in our communities, in our country, and as global citizens, we also want to be sure that we can offer that preparation to all qualified and interested students. Put succinctly, we want to offer the best liberal arts education possible to those students who have the potential to do something important with that education. With the Gettysburg College diploma comes an expectation. We expect our graduates to combine ideas with action, to combine leadership with responsibility. We expect Gettysburg graduates to have positive impact. There are two vehicles that are essential to reach this vision. First, Gettysburg College must develop a reputation that matches today's reality. I said that and the sun came out. And it's going to get even brighter with the second point. Because the second point is that Gettysburg College must have the resources it needs and deserves so that we can assure our rightful place as one of America's greatest liberal arts colleges, so that we can continue to produce the world's Gettysburg. So let's talk about reputation first. We don't have a bad reputation, of course, just too mild of one. How many of you have been asked if Gettysburg College is a little school in Virginia? Or how many of you have heard, I didn't know there was a college in Gettysburg? That is not acceptable. We are an excellent liberal arts college, one of the best in the nation, and that should be widely known. Put another way, Gettysburg is a great college with a good reputation. We provide a great education in a wonderful community, and we've been kind of quiet about it. We've always been a little modest. Modesty is a nice trait, but too much modesty may not serve us well. I think the world needs to know what we're bringing to the table, and we need the help of our students and alumni and parents and friends to broadcast that message. We need to share the news of what makes Gettysburg great. We need to trace the impact, the ripple effect that Gettysburg has on society, on the nation, on the future. That's the world's Gettysburg we're talking about again. Now let's focus on the challenges we face, and that brings us to the question of resources. The data and landscape are very clear. We have less money to spend on the educational experience we offer than the colleges we compete with most closely for students: Bucknell, Lafayette, Franklin and Marshall, and Dickinson. Each of those institutions has more endowment per student than does Gettysburg. Each can count on more annual giving from their alumni than can Gettysburg. In recent years, each has even charged a little more tuition than Gettysburg. Although we should be proud that we've remained competitive despite our smaller resource base, I worry that we can't keep this up forever. In this new economic environment, some colleges will disappear, they'll just go out of business. I'm confident that Gettysburg will not be one of them. Gettysburg will survive. But this is about more than survival. The challenge we face isn't about keeping the doors open and the lights on. It's about the difference between being good and being great. It's about fulfilling the mission we have set for ourselves. Now, you might wonder, what's the impact of having fewer resources to spend? Is it that big of a deal? First, I worry about our ability to continue to attract and retain truly excellent faculty. So far, we've done very well, even though we've been a little bit behind others in regard to what we're paying in salary. But if you slide back a little, and then a little more, you can find yourself in a hole as that gap widens. Trying to recruit new talent if you're offering, say, 20% less than what they're being offered elsewhere, that is a challenge. And those faculty also need support to stay contemporary in their teaching methods and in their disciplines so that they're offering a first-rate educational experience to their students. So providing adequate support for our faculty is critical, and it's a concern. But my biggest concern is student scholarship support, financial aid. We must assure that Gettysburg education is available to all deserving students, not just those who can afford it. I think there's a moral imperative here. We should not be comfortable denying access to those we'd otherwise welcome solely because they don't have the ability to pay. I should also point out that we need to make Gettysburg accessible to all qualified students, not just because we think it's the right thing to do. It's also, quite frankly, the necessary thing to do. We have to recruit a more diverse student body if we're going to compete with other great colleges for the top talent of the coming generations. Today's top students, regardless of their own circumstances, understand that a diverse campus community will enrich their learning experience and their preparation for leadership roles in a global economy. And they are right. It's what they should expect, and it's what we should be able to provide. Some may wonder, why can't we just charge less? Why is a Gettysburg education so expensive? In a word, it's personal. We're not interested in improving efficiency by teaching hundreds of students simultaneously in vast auditoriums, or by delivering lectures by computer screens. Our model will always be about close faculty-student relationships and robust educational experiences. Experiences that unleash the potential of young minds and develop in our students a sense of responsibility to put this high-quality education to use. That educational experience goes far beyond the bounds of our classrooms. Our students deserve opportunities to do research with faculty during the summer. They should be able to participate in service learning trips. They should have the opportunity to do internships. They should study abroad. And even right here on campus, we owe our students a global educational experience. I can't think of better preparation for tomorrow's leaders than a rich liberal arts education that is paired with active learning experiences in labs and in workplaces, in Asia and South America, in local homeless shelters and orphanages in Africa. These are the experiences that are helping our students connect the dots from classroom to career, from local to global community, from thinking to doing. These are the experiences we must provide if we are going to prepare today's students to be tomorrow's leaders. So this all comes back to our Gettysburg, the college we all love and need to support. Gettysburg alumni, parents, and friends have always been proud of the college, but that pride has not always been linked to financial support. We were late in developing our philanthropy program. We weren't building an endowment way back when so many of our peer institutions were, so we're in a catch-up mode. Some of this has to do with our heritage going back generations, when we educated a lot of pastors and teachers and their children, a noble thing to do, by the way, but frankly, there wasn't a lot of wealth available. I think our Lutheran culture set a tone for the way we interacted with our alumni. We were very low-key about asking our alumni for financial support. And so we didn't build the tradition of giving back in the same way that so many other colleges did. With our last campaign, our alumni and friends began to understand the need for endowment and annual giving, but we still have a long way to go. And frankly, a lot of our alumni will say, well, you're charging $50-some thousand a year, you're a wealthy institution, why would you need our help? Why would you need additional support? They don't understand the fact that the cost of every student's Gettysburg education exceeds what we charge. And they don't understand that many of our students simply can't afford to pay the full $50-some thousand a year. They may need our help understanding that the kind of experience we want to offer, that we must offer if we're to continue to be true to our mission, is expensive. What we offer is more than a college degree. It's an experience that transforms young lives and prepares them to have impact. So I need your help to explain the value of the educational experience we offer and what our college's needs are. The challenge is converting those who haven't been givers and moving those who have been givers to a new level of commitment. And I know we can do that. I think our challenges have to do with educating people and bringing them closer into the fold, as you are. The problem is not a lack of allegiance or affection. I'm out traveling the country meeting alumni and parents and friends of the college, and I know there is so much untapped enthusiasm for Gettysburg College. It fills the room every time I enter a gathering of Gettysburgians. Over the next few years, we'll increase that enthusiasm even more, and we will reduce the untapped part. One thing I want to stop saying, that frankly I've gotten very tired of saying, is that we're fighting above our weight class. On the one hand, I think we should feel very proud of what we've been able to accomplish with the resources that we have available. But I do worry that we're reaching our limit. I think you can fight above your weight class only so long before you start to wear out. The conversations about Gettysburg should be exhilarating. We should be asking one another, what inspires us to make Gettysburg great, and how can we make it even greater? And here's what you can do to help. Here's what you can do to make this great college even greater. First, you can wear your Gettysburg College passion on your sleeve with pride. Tell people about Gettysburg College in your workplace, in your neighborhood, in the grocery store. Wave your Gettysburg flags, wear your orange and blue hats and t-shirts. Be proud that you are a Gettysburgian, because there is so much to be proud of. Second, stay tuned in. Read your Gettysburg email and letters and magazines. Watch our website so that you have a sense of today's Gettysburg. And stay involved in class reunion planning and on our volunteer boards and so on. Third, help us recruit the very best students in the country. We will not let them down. The educational experience we offer is among the very best in the country. A full-blown, engaging experience that both challenges and supports these young people from the day they arrive. So please, be our ambassadors with prospective students and families. Fourth, our students need jobs. It's tough out there. If you can provide an internship or externship or job shadowing experience for a Gettysburg student, please, please do that. Or if you can offer some career advice or a foot in the door for one of our new graduates or any kind of a networking opportunity, please let us know. We very much want to help our students get a strong professional start when they graduate. And finally, we need your financial support now more than ever. We need all gifts, large and small. We're evaluated by ranking organizations and foundations on the percentage of our alumni who give annually, and we lag behind our competitors. We must increase the number of our alumni who give every year to the Gettysburg Fund, and we need our alumni and parents and friends to be as generous as they can in their support of this great college. Support for Gettysburg College with our time, with our talents, with our resources, is truly an investment. It's an investment in our Gettysburg, a place we love, an investment that will assure its good health and vitality into the future, something I know we all want to see. But support for Gettysburg College is also an investment in the world's Gettysburg, an investment in our collective future, in these young people who will change the world. We cannot pass the buck. No one else is going to step up for us. Supporting Gettysburg College is our charge. Gettysburg College is our college, and it's our responsibility. So let's see what we can all do together. Thank you.